Doodle-doo, doo-doo, doodle-doo, doo-doo, doodle-doo, boom, boom, ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. It's a shame the way you mess around with my name. It's a shame the way you hurt me. It's a shame the way you mess around with my game. I'm working all day long, trying to bring you home, trying to buy it all. But you really don't buy much at all. It's a shame the way you mess around with my game. It's a shame the way you play with my emotions. It's a shame that this dollar game has to end. I'm going to change it all to a waterfall of some silver and gold. And I really won't have to worry at all. It's a shame. Guys, it's a shame. But that's the best I could do with that Temptation song. But I did put my own rendition on it. All right. Good morning, fellow billionaires. This is Silver 5150 with your morning update for Wednesday, August 19th, 2020. And before we start, 100 RCM Supermans. That's right. 100 Royal Canadian Mint 2016 Supermans. Okay? All right. We're going to journey around these today as we talk about various things. Okay. So yeah, that was my Temptations rendition for you of the song Shame, my version of it anyway, depicting one's journey into the new precious metals fold. Let's get on that. These are really nice. I told you guys before I like these because they're a lot like jewelry. And they really are. I mean, you get in on them, you get in close on them, on that side with the queen, and you can see that it reflects light very well. And it has those security lines in it that gives it that shimmery, sheer look. Very cool. All right. So you guys, I like to have fun with these sort of things with the songs and, kind of play with the words a little bit. Why you put up with it, I have no idea. But I appreciate it. And now, a little scripture. Yea, the Almighty shall be thy defense, and thou shalt have plenty of silver. Now that was a passage from the book of Job, chapter 22, verse 25. And I think God approves of us trying to return to the use of his money and make straight the path for those he has chosen as custodians to acquire it. Talking about us. Now, here we have this coin. It doesn't need any introduction. It is the Superman coin from the Royal Canadian Mint back in 2016. You can still get these. They're about $45, all right? But at 1 million mintage, it is quite a small mintage for a sovereign mint. So in the sovereign community where you have 30 million eagles, minted in a year, and that's a low year, 1 million for a sovereign coin from Royal Canadian Mint is pretty low. All right, so it is exclusive amongst the sovereign coin community. All right, so the reason why we're revisiting this coin right here is because I want to make the case that to continue to stack, because guys, you're out there, you want to stack, you're enthusiastic about stacking. In order to continue to stack at these new spot prices, especially if you want to stack in volume like this, look, it's going to require nerves of steel at this point. It really is. All right, the markets are down right now. We'll take a quick look at them. It looks like everything's relatively flat. Stocks right now are barely eking out in the green, and some are in the red. I think the S&P and the Russell 2K are in the red. NASDAQ and the Dow are in the green just by a hair. And then, of course, metals are down a little bit, but it looks like they're trying to recover some, okay, which is very good. They can do that and then, show us the nice green day. But right now, the prices are down, so maybe we want to take advantage of it. And so you look at the euro and you look at the currencies, and you can see that's why not a lot's going on. Now, I think they're expecting some retail earnings to come out today. I can't imagine that's going to turn out very well. So maybe they're just trying to ignore them, and so the markets will stay quiet today. That would be great. But in the meantime, we are going to continue to watch to see what the action in silver is going to give us, whether we can buy, whether we hold, whether we sell. Depends on how high the price goes, right? But anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make one final plea. And it's not even a plea. It's just one final pitch about the weakened credit system that we're living in right now, okay? The credit system right now is weakened. It is desperate. And remember, I said back in March, if you hear the words interest default, meaning that you don't have to pay any interest on your student loans and stuff, that means that the credit system is dying, and they're not going to redact that. So a lot of student loans right now are getting forgiven. Well, I don't say forgiven. So we're not going to call it debt forgiveness, but they're being deferred. The interest is being deferred on the loans, which means you don't have to pay those loans until that interest is undeferred. Okay? And I said that back in March, I think, and right now it's pretty much common language. All right, anyway. So, um, the credit system is as weak as it's ever been in the history of mankind. Now, I've explained at length how I've taken advantage of it and how I've used a simple framework of mathematics and something I like to call financial funneling to manage the massive amount of debt I carry. I do carry a lot of debt. And I'm going to talk a little fast this morning because we want to try to get through this in about half an hour. I got some things I got to do. But I just want to make my case and tell you what I've done and how it's turned out. And you can go from there. I know a lot of people won't touch this with a 10-foot pole, but it's my last shot at explaining to you that if you want to try to get precious metals, it is high risk, but you can be done. And that'll be the last thing I'll say about it. Right? So when I decided I was going to take advantage of the credit system, I began looking at the minimum payment requirements and the different payment options available. Okay? To me, the ones available to me to satisfy my outstanding obligations month to month. Okay? I looked at my it was a basic, It was basically an effort to see what I can get away with. I looked at my standard credit card and I found that the tolerances on it, what it took to maintain those. And then I took my remaining income and decided to pursue signature loans with that total. Okay? Whatever I had left over. Now, don't get me wrong. The first thing I addressed was satisfying my regular monthly bills. That was first and foremost. If I'd looked at and I had no extra income for the end of the month, I would have never pursued anything else. The bills came first. Your ability to survive your needs, okay? Just your needs. That needs to take priority. The basic needs need to take priority. So take care of those first. Whatever's left can be used to invest in precious metals. So I've always made that case. You want to get into credit, you want to go ahead and extend yourself and expand yourself and leverage yourself. Make sure your basic needs are taken care of first. Now, when I first looked, I noticed I didn't have a lot of leftover income to invest in precious metals, and I found that unacceptable. So I set about trying to increase my income. Now, you guys have heard stories where I've taken on side jobs and additional part-time jobs, worked massive amounts of overtime, cut back on my expenses, anything I could do to have more dollars left over to purchase precious metals month to month. Once it was clear I had a certain amount to spend, I began working on my shopping techniques and even collaborated with friends that had specialized talents in that area, like the broker. But when it comes to shopping, like I said before, it doesn't have to be a friend that's talented. It could be a family member, perhaps a niece who's a genius at finding specials and deals shopping around online. The process is exactly the same as buying anything else, except now you're buying things that increase in dollar-denominated value versus decreasing in it. But yeah, these people they're all around us that they love to do that sort of thing, the shopping people. You tell them something to the effect of, oh yeah, I need you to spend some of my money for me. And surprisingly enough, they'll be right there ready to take care of that for you. It's amazing. People you trust, of course. Now, but over time, I became a pretty good shopper myself. And it was during that period that I decided up against the clock, meaning that the deadlines that I saw coming headed our way for available silver and stuff was much bigger as a problem for me than whatever residual income I had to spend. So I had to keep an eye on that too, right? And I'm gonna tell you, this is similar to the situation we have now to where, one day we're gonna have inventories and the next day they're gonna be gone. It's as simple as that. Next they're gonna be gone, all right? So I say that, keep an eye on the clock and understand that you have a limited amount of time to act because every day we see dynamic moves in the silver market that can absolutely turn our budget upside down if we act too early, if we act too late, but mostly too late at this point. And just to be clear, I'm glad if you recently found this space and you find it exciting and desire expressing that excitement by buying silver and other precious metals. But the truth is, if you don't have the income, you just don't have it. Okay? I mean, that's just the way it goes. If you can barely pay your bills and have no additional income, this is not the investment for you. No offense. I mean, there are things that you can do to change that. Even going as far as earning them, talking about precious metals later in the future economy. But until you do that, you're just kind of sitting on the sidelines without the capital to participate, and you shouldn't force it. Okay? If you don't have the income, find a way to get it. If you can't get it, then you just can't get it. So, we've established that once you figure out the amount of income you have left after paying your monthly bills, you're ready to invest using all the tools that you acquired from viewing the channels like this one, all right, or from looking around on various retail sites. to figure out how to shop better, or maybe having someone help you do it. Once you're comfortable with that, now it's time to see what kind of leverage you can get away with. And this is where it gets a little scary. Stick with me. All right. Many times I told you guys how I've taken it to the ragged edge and even beyond once to see how far I could stretch my financial framework. And I almost broke it, actually. I almost broke it. That was when I was sitting in a parking lot trying to buy 2 tacos at Jack in the Box and couldn't afford it. After that, I wisely backed off, having learned my lesson, and proceeded to stay within my means from that point. No more stress tests. Done with that. Now here comes the tricky part. I began to try to understand how I could use the credit system's various payment schedules against itself. The effort being to acquire silver faster than credit interest rates could catch up to me. Now, does that make sense what I just said? Think about what I just said. Acquiring silver, I wanted to acquire silver faster than credit interest rates could catch up to me. All right? So, what I mean by that, basically, is you want to try to stack silver at a rate that will give you returns in this dynamic market that either equal or surpass the amount of interest that you get charged month to month. And that way you're coming out cash positive. All right. But anyway, before you even start this, you got to have something that motivates you. You have to either be bitten by the silver bug and have a clear understanding of just how great the return on investment, or ROI as it's called, will be once silver starts trading freely. And it will. So let me give you an example. In my case, after paying my monthly bills, I found myself working extra jobs that I had yielded probably another $700 a month to spend. And I mean, this is after all my bills, my food, my clothes, my entertainment, okay? Any kind of additional expenses outside of the structured obligations like rent, a mortgage, car notes, medical expenses, and utilities. After all that, I researched and found that the credit system had reduced their rates for signature and debt consolidation loans considerably. And that was 3 years ago. Who knows what it is now? I would call them and I would talk to them and I'd ask them what my costs would be month to month for certain quantities of borrowed cash. I would start high on a desired amount, the principal, and then work my way down to hit that magic number that I was looking for, around $660 a month. This left me just enough wiggle room, okay, in case I missed something, but not very much, like $40. Now let me backtrack a bit. For years, I've been building in great credit, and I had an excellent credit score. It was just sitting there. But as I began to understand the financial system, I realized that in the future, an outstanding credit score would matter a lot less in its unused form versus being monetized into silver. And look, I get it. Okay, I get it. For many, having zero credit, it's a badge of honor. It's a testament to your fiscal righteousness. I get it. To have perfect credit with zero balance. That's pretty awesome, actually, to be able to do that. Not very many people can do that. But what I'm telling you is that even a zero balance in your credit system will be easily outperformed by the gains coming up in the constant and steady revaluation of this new silver spot market. I'm telling you, just keep an eye on it. So with the $660 a month I mentioned earlier, okay, that got me approximately $22,000 of borrowed cash at 9% interest in a debt consolidation signature loan that was owned by one of my existing credit card companies. And that's what I recommend. The option I recommend is if you're going to do debt consolidation or signature loan, try to do it with one of the financial companies you're already associated with. Now, in my case, it was Discover. But for you, it may be something else or someone else. Now, there are outside companies like Sallie Mae and Monveo, and they work well too. By the way, that $22,000 I borrowed, the instant I got that money, it was gone in about 20 minutes after arriving in my bank account because I bought silver the instant it hit, since the price of silver was down that day. This is what I mean by being up against the clock. I decided to race the clock and I beat it that day. And I've done it other times too. And it's paid off quite a bit. All right. But I'm telling you, this market is just beginning. All right. So you see, what I did basically is I front loaded everything. I've been front loading everything. I front loaded my ability to earn money from my career, directed it towards front loading silver when it was at lower prices as quickly as I could, and decided to simply face the consequences if I somehow slipped up. But guys, here's the ultimate beauty of investing in a monetary asset, all right? Here's the beauty of it. A monetary asset, it has a structured price market, meaning a spot market, and an immediate redeemable value. The very asset you're investing in, whether you do it on credit or debit, can be quickly liquefied and turned into the ultimate backstop for credit that you may have overextended or failed on. You get it? You can walk all of this back at any time. I could dump all my silver at any time, pay off all my bills, have a truckload of cash, do it in like 48 hours. I could do it in 48 hours because of the systems I set up with my depository. Um, so that's my backstop. I don't worry about what's going to happen with the credit that I owe. I'm going to pay it as well as I can. But if something goes wrong, I can liquidate this thing and kill it off in like 2 days and have everything go away. Now I won't have any silver, maybe. Well, I'll have some, but it just won't be as much. Or if you have, all your silver tied up in credit, then you're just going to have to let it go because you can't hold on to it. But you can dissolve the problem without not too much heat or hangups. All right. So yeah, if you get in trouble, you can liquidate your metal, all of it, and then pay back, whatever you owe. And and you're probably going to in these prices right now. All right, you're probably going to end up selling back to the spot price. All right, that is probably fluctuating up. All right. But in that back when I started doing it, the spot price was fluctuating down a lot, and I'm gonna tell you, it made for some very trying times. I drank a lot of Malox back then, so I hear a lot of complaints today about high spot price this and high premium that. There's now a greater ally to us stackers than low spot prices and premiums. Let me repeat that. Even though the prices are starting to climb into the stratosphere, not the mesosphere, there is a greater ally to us stackers than low spot prices and premiums. And that ally is now market momentum. The momentum in the silver market today is heavily biased to the upside now, as price manipulations start to fall apart and silver kicks the teeth in on anything that remains in its way. Silver's not messing around now. It's getting freed and it's getting bold, and it's going to start really showing people what it's all about. All right? So yes, you may pay $350 for that 10-ounce bar now. But these days, the odds are pretty good that if you just wait 2 weeks, you'll probably be able to sell that bar back to the very place you bought it from, by the way. Depositories and retailers, they buy back as well as they sell. You might be able to sell that bar back to the very place you bought it from for either a tiny profit or just break even, which is the ultimate scenario for the investment do-over. Okay? You get a do-over because of the asset you've chosen to invest in. So now recap. You're investing in a monetary asset that can be liquidated quickly, and these days likely at a profit, to redact any kind of overspending or overinvesting choices you've made in it. No other asset class, with the exception of cryptocurrencies, are going to give you that option. But as Silver Game of Thrones says, crypto requires brains, while precious metals do not. Those you buy, you can just go on vacation for a year. I can't do an impersonation of him. He's one of my favorites, but yeah, I like to do his accent, a little bit of accent. Guy speaks like 5 languages, so I give him a hard time. So now that I've told you about my cash acquisition techniques, which are very basic, okay, I'm now going to tell you about the management of it all, because having all that hanging out there, it requires some custodianship, all right? So I do what I like to call funneling, okay? So it's called the funneling, so financial funneling. Financial funneling is a term that I've coined basically to explain the idea of taking multiple streams of billing, whether it is your regular everyday bills, whether it is credit bills, or what have you, and handing over the custodianship to a minimum number of favorite institutions, financial institutions. Now, this part's going to require trust, meaning doing this system that I take advantage of called autopay. So I'm going to use my example to describe how it works. Now, I pretty much have all of my financial commitments relegated into available autopay systems. I do everything, utilities, rent, all of it. Comes in autopay. I make sure that there's money available, on whatever medium they're pulling from, and then they take care of the rest, and I just keep an eye on it. But the mediums that I allow these autopay systems to draw from, in my case, are the following two. The first being my checking account from my bank, okay, and the second being my main credit card. Now, for me, this serves two purposes. The first shows a tremendous amount of present paradigm financial activity. If you have all this stuff going into autopay, the powers that be, they're looking at your activity and going, oh, he's a total puppet. He's a total sheeple. We don't have to worry about him. All right. Unless they start looking closer and seeing what I'm investing in. But anyway, so look, I'm seriously, if you have all this crazy economic activity or money velocity going on in a credit system and a banking system, the powers that be are happy. Okay. It gives them the perception that you've got a lot of skin in the game, and I'm probably not too much of an anti-establishmentarian. Okay. Meaning that you don't like the establishment. The second thing is that doing these auto pay systems reduces the number of what I like to call failure points. Now, this is very important. This is another term I've coined. Failure points exist in every billing structure. It doesn't matter what your bill is. It could be your grocery bill. If you're using your credit card for it and you overextend your credit card, you can have a problem. All right. But these failure points exist in every billing structure and will usually rear their ugly heads after a series of defaults have taken place, meaning you haven't paid your bills, and activates a series of the collection departments, which you really don't want. You don't want the collectors coming after you because they are relentless. Okay. However, if all of your billing activity is funneled into one or two of the bill payment structures I mentioned, then those are the only failure points that exist and the only people you have to deal with, and are pretty much more easily managed than, say, 10 or 12 potential failure points, talking about all your individual bills. In the case of using my credit card for auto pay actions, I've learned that they have very tough penalties for going over your credit limit. Your interest rate can increase instantly by 10 or 15 basis points in a month should you go beyond these limits, causing you a lot of pain. On the other hand, using your checking account as a bill paying solution is a lot more forgiving. And in that is usually only about $35 for an overdraft fee when an overdraft occurs. Even then, in most cases, depending on your standing with the bank, they'll waive your fee upon request, especially if it's known that there are funds en route, meaning that you have your paycheck going in a direct deposit. They know you have a habit of that. So at this point, you're probably asking, like, why not just use your checking account for everything rather than mixing in toxic credit? Well, for me, it was simple. I wanted to be able to access that great credit score I had. I wanted to be able to access the $27,000 of credit, okay, that I had built up over the years on my credit card and use it as capital, or as I like to call it, monetizing everything that's not nailed down, okay? And what do I mean by that? To monetize, okay? I monetize everything. To monetize, it means to turn whatever capital I have into silver. And I did. I monetized everything, all right? Because silver is money. When you buy silver, you are monetizing whatever currency medium you're using to purchase it. You're monetizing it and freezing it in time, inoculating it from inflation and possibly setting up for gains, all right? So, included was all excess cash, in my case, all excess credit, and even future potential earnings. The guys, check me out. Now you know why I'm Silver 5150, the craziest silver bull you'll ever meet. I've risked everything, and it may blow up in my face, but I don't think it will. I've risked everything. I'm the craziest silver bull you'll ever meet because I know that silver will eventually outperform everything under the sun, including all my cash, all my credit, and yes, even my future earnings potential. So, to close, I'm going to go ahead and try to cut this short. To close, I get it. Spot prices may be very high right now, but market momentum is much more powerful as an ally than low prices. And it's really on our side right now. It really is. Okay? Now, sure, be mindful of things that can add extra expense to your stacking, but don't let them deter you to the point to where you don't buy anything. Because I repeat, silver will outperform any crazy premium that you'll experience here in the coming days, weeks, months, and years. When silver gets to $600 an ounce or is no longer available, but at $600 an ounce and you paid earlier on a $40 premium on a 1 ounce silver eagle that cost you $70, you'll look back and you'll think, man, I'm really glad I decided to do that. If you can only buy one coin, then buy one. If you can only buy a half ounce, then just buy that. If you can only afford a few grams, hold your nose, find the best price, but pay the premiums, and just don't look at the spot price by the gram. It'll bring a tear to your eye. It will. It's crazy. I get it. All right? But just buy that. Just know that later on, whatever you paid in premiums are going to be dwarfed by the relentless, incredible performance of your grams, tenths, quarter ounces, half ounces, constitutional silver, 1 ounces, any denomination you have those individual increments in. Those denominations, those transactions are going to leave everything you've suffered through financially, cost-wise, in the dust. The profit's going to leave things in the dust. All right? And guys, I know I'm the most bullish silver bug you'll ever hear. I know I repeat that, but trust me on this one thing. I am absolutely sure that buying silver right now, while it's available, is a can't-lose scenario. Now, the timing may be off here and there, and it may frustrate you a bit, but trust me, in the next few months, everything I said will make a lot more sense, and I'll get a lot less hate. Because I'm getting it right now. But that's okay. That's okay. If this is what it takes to wake people up, I'll try to do it. So yeah, I think it's a can't-lose scenario, buying silver right now, especially if you can get it at a good price. Now, please don't be one of the ones that acquired this knowledge of silver's potential, but let the opportunity pass them by and they were able to buy some. I am confident that the same techniques I used back when I started will serve me just as well today. And if I was starting to stack just today, I would use those same techniques today, even at the higher spot prices, right? So that's just me. That's why I'm crazy, and that's what I recommend. Do what's comfortable to you. Like I said, if you can't handle the stress, then don't do it. But I'm telling you, there are ways. And right now, the system is becoming more favorable to those questionable ways. All right. I'm Silver5150 telling you that your stack is not whack and that just 10 ounces to your name. You know what? We're going to change that. Just 12 ounces to your name. Keeps you 99% ahead of the game. Because look, a lot more people are buying silver and there's a lot less to buy now. So now you got to up it up a little bit. Not just 10 ounces anymore, it's 12 ounces to your name. Keeps you 99% ahead of the game. We're going to do some giveaways later, so we'll make up for that additional count. All right, well, look, thank you for tuning in. I ask you guys to please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Go out there and have a great day, and if you haven't acquired physical silver yet, and you're able to, please do so. If you have acquired physical silver, treat yourself to the market action that's moving in our favor right now. It is a down day, and you can actually buy some more. So thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you tomorrow. Take care.